Hey, this is Mrs. Sebastian, and today we're going to look at percents on Study Island. Andy estimated that he would need 70 feet of lumber for a treehouse project. He later found the actual amount of lumber needed was 59 feet. What was the percent of error of Andy's estimation? So you're going to have the change, between the two amounts on top. And on the bottom of your division, you're going to have the actual value. So change over actual. So our change is going to be our 70 minus 59, so we can see how much he is off. And the actual amount is 59. He figured out the actual amount of lumber was 59 feet. Okay, so 70 minus 59 gives us 11 over 59. And we can put that into our handy dandy calculator. And we do get 0.186440678. So what we're going to do, this is a decimal. We're going to change it to a percent by multiplying it by 100. You could also just move the decimal 2 spots to the right, and you do get 18.64%. August hosted 2 dinner parties for his friends. 25 guests attended the first party and 30 guests attended the second party. What is the percent increase of the number of guests from the first party to the second party? So I know that the top is the change. So we're going to put 30 minus 25, that's the change in guests, and the original number of guests. So the original number of guests was 25. So 30 minus 25 is 5. We leave the 25. We could simplify 5 over 25 by dividing the top and the bottom by 5. And we do get 1/5. And I know 1/5 is a decimal is 0.2. Okay, and to change that to a percent, I'm going to multiply it by 100. And to do that, I just move that decimal 2 spots to the right. Because there's nothing in this second space right here, I'm going to put a 0. And I do get 20%. That is D. Okay, Tanya took out a loan to help pay for her house. She borrowed $70,000 for 15 years at a yearly simple interest rate of 5%. How much interest will she end up paying to the bank? So I know that my interest formula is I equals PRT. So the I is your interest. The P is the principal or the amount borrowed. The R is your percent or your rate. And T is your time in years. Okay, so I'm going to plug in what we know. We don't know the interest we're looking for it, so I'm going to leave it as I. We know our principal is the amount borrowed, $70,000. Okay, then we know our rate is 5%, and I want to make sure I'm putting that as a decimal. And then your T is that years. So we are borrowing it for 15 years. Now, I am going to go ahead and multiply this out. So 70,000 times 0.05 times 15, and I get $52,500. So that is a lot of interest. Okay, now, if it wanted to go one step further and say how much was she paying total back, she would have to pay that interest plus the $70,000 she borrowed. So she would end up paying $122,500 back to the bank. So make sure that you are looking at that interest as well. A CD usually sells for $17. Okay, if the CD is 20% off and the sales tax is 8%, what is the total price of the CD including tax? So I'm going to show you two different ways to do this one. The first one is we're just going to figure out what 17 times 0.20, because that's 20% as a decimal, equals, okay, and I know that 2 times 17 is 34, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers after the decimal, so this would be $3.40 off. So now I'm going to say, okay, it was $17, but now I've got a sale. I'm subtracting that $3.40. So 10 minus 4 is 6. Bring down my decimal, and I do get $13.60. So now I'm going to take the $13.60, and I'm going to figure out how much tax is going to be charged to that. Now the sales tax is 8%. Okay, to find that out, it's 8 over 100. So that is the decimal is 0.08. Okay, so I am going to do 1360 times 0.08. Okay, 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 6 is 48. So I carry a 4. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 4 is 28. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Okay, if I multiply the 0 times everything, it's still going to be 0. So I look, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers after the decimal. So I'm going to have 4 numbers after the decimal in my answer. Because this is sales tax, it is money. So I look here, this 8 is big enough to round that 8 up to a 9. So it's going to be $1.09 in sales tax. So $13.60 plus $1.09. So it would be $14.69 total. Now, another way that you could do it, I did tell you that I was going to do two different ways. So I'm going to change my color down here, and I'm going to take $17, and if you have 20% off, you're only paying 80%, because remember, you have 100% of the item, subtract 20, you get 80. So I'm going to multiply this by 80%. So 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 0 is 0. 56. 13. So it would give me 1360. Okay. Which is, notice the same amount here. And now to do the sales tax, you take 1360 and you're paying 100% of the item plus the 8% sales tax. So 100% is 1 plus the sales tax is 0.08. Okay, so that's 108% because that's what we're paying. So if I multiply by that, 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 6 is 48. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 4 is 28. So that is 10. Put in my placeholder, and then 0, 0, 0, 0. Put in 2 placeholders, and 1 times everything is 0, 6, 3, 1. Okay, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers after the decimal. So I have 4 numbers in my answer. Okay, we look at this 8. It is big enough to round it up, and I can get 1469. So there are 2 different ways you could do that. Either one works. Just choose whichever one works better for you. A pair of shoes usually sells for $60. If the shoes are on sale for 30% off and the sales tax is 8%, what is the total? So I'm going to do both ways again to show you how you can do this. So the first one is I'm going to multiply by 30%. So the first row is all zeros. Placeholder 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 0, and then 3 times 6 is 18. Okay, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers after the decimal. So this would mean it's $18 off of my price. So I'm going to take my 60 and subtract 18. That'll tell me what the sale price is. So 60 minus 18 is $42. Now I'm going to take my $42 and I'm going to multiply it times the sales tax. That's 8 over 100, or 0.08. Okay, so I'm going to multiply. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 1 more is 33. Okay, and I've got 2 numbers after the decimal. So I have 2 numbers in my answer. So the tax is going to be $3.36. So now I'm going to add the price plus the $3.36, and I get $45.36. Okay, so we get our answer there, but I'm also going to show you the other way. Okay, so this is a completely different one. Okay, up here you've got $60. So if you take off $30%, you're paying how much? 100 minus 30 is 70. So I'm going to multiply it by 70%, or 0.7. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 6 is 42. I have 1 number after the decimal, so that's $42. So I'm taking that $42 and I'm going to multiply it. We pay 100% of the sale price plus 8% sales tax, which is 108%. So I'm going to multiply by 1.08. That's going to be the percent written as a decimal. Okay, so I've got 8 times 2 is 16. Carry a 1. 8 times 4 is 32. Add 1 more is 33. Then I add a placeholder. Okay, I had 2 placeholders for the 1. 6, 3, 5, 4. And I have 2 numbers after the decimal in my problem. So I do still get 45.36. So either way works.